morning to all. Today we will be discussing about Hamilton's principle. So it is one of the more application of the calculus of variation. Okay. So we have seen calculus of variation for for several dependent variables, that is already we have seen. Okay. And in that representation we also seen that j equal to, okay, the it will be from x1 to x2. So for a different several variable case, we represent it as y1 of x, y2 of x, okay, and like etc. We will have y1 yn x lab, y1 of, yeah, y1, okay, up to yn of x will be there, and we'll have next one y1 x of x, then y2 x of x, and similarly up to we'll have y and x of x will be there, and the independent value, that is x dx, like you can represent. Now what we will be considering is that if this particular function like f now become a Lagrangian, okay, so if f become a Lagrangian, what will be the difference in that case? Okay, so let me introduce a Lagrangian for a non-relativistic system. Okay, so we are dealing with a non-relativistic system. So the Lagrangian associated with that will be, we know that the Lagrangian is actually L equal to T minus V, where T is the kinetic energy and V is the potential energy. That is already we know. Okay, so it is the difference between the kinetic energy and potential energy of a particular system. Okay, using time as an independent variable here instead of x. Okay, so here we are treating time as the independent variable instead of the x value. Okay, time as the independent variable, and we'll also say that xi of t as the dependent variable here. Okay, so with the position with respect to time, we'll be considering that. For example, we have xi of t, we consider as a dependent variable here. So here the independent variable is time and the dependent variable is length. So what we have done is that we are actually changing this dependent variable x to t here, and our yi will be what? It is converting to xi of t here. Okay, and yi x, it is actually representing xi dot of t. Okay, so like we will be changing the integrand that we already have seen in the case. Okay, where xi of t, I can say that it is a position, right? It is a location at time t, at time t. Okay, and xi dot, we already know that xi dot equal to what? Which is equal to, which I can say that it is dxi. Okay, it is dxi by dt. Okay, so like I'll be taking the representation here, and the velocity of particle I as a function of time, because xi of d means what? It is the velocity of particle, right? So it is the velocity of particle uh, at a time t, or as a function of time, as a function of time t. Okay, so the equation, now if you change the equation, del j equal to 0, del j will equal to 0, that means we have to take dou j by dou alpha at alpha equal to 0, it should be equal to 0. That situation, okay, is the mathematical statements of Hamiltonian principle, and we call it as the del j equal to, so by del j equal to 0 means we have to take delta of what? This t1 to t2, okay, L of x1, x2 up to xn, and we have seen like x1 dot x2 dot up to xn dot comma t dt will be equal to 0. Okay, so this is the value corresponding to that. So here we are treating this will be as del j. Okay, so this is not right then. Okay, so we will be representing this one. Okay, so here del j equal to 0 is, we call it as a mathematical statement of Hamiltonian principle. So this is a mathematical statement of Hamilton's principle. Okay, and in words, the Hamiltonian can be said that it asserts that the motion of a system from t1 to t2 is such that it is a time integral of the Lagrangian or the action as a stationary value. Okay, so it is a motion of the system. So according to the Hamilton principle, the motion of a system from t1 to t2 is such that the time integral of the Lagrangian or the action as a stationary value. So you can simply say that it is actually the, when you consider the motion of an electron of a particle, okay, or a motion of a system from t1 to t2 is actually what is a time integral of the Lagrangian. Here you can see that here Fi replaced with L, so that is a Lagrangian associated with that. So or we can either call it as del J equal to 0 means the action as a, we will be treating as a stationary value, right? So the resulting Euler equation in this case, okay, so the resulting Euler equation, so the resulting Euler's equation are usually called Lagrangian equation of motion. Okay, so it is usually called Lagrangian equation of motion, that is d by dt dou L by dou x I dot minus dou L by dou x I dot is equal to 0. Okay, so here you can see the first term representing what? It is first term representing the kinetic energy part. Okay, and the second term representing the generalized force component. Okay, and we can say that Lagrangian equation as a possibility that, so from Lagrangian equation one can actually derive Newton's equation. Okay, and also from Newton's equation we can also derive this Lagrangian equation as well. Okay, so why do we say so? Because both the equations are what? Both are fundamental equation, so you can actually derive from one equation from the other one. Okay, so both are fundamental equation in that case. And when you consider the Lagrangian equation, the important aspect is that is a scalar equation. Okay, and it is invariant under any frame of reference. We can utilize this one, whereas vector, Newton's equation is actually a vector equation. Okay, and it is not a invariant, that means it is a variant equation, like I can say. That means if you take in a moving frame of reference and inertial frame of reference, this Newton equation will vary, but Lagrangian equation will be what? It will be a constant, that means it will be invariant under any frame of reference. Okay, So that's why we will be mostly utilizing Lagrangian equation of motion for to consider for invariant condition case. Okay, and the above equation that we obtained earlier, this is we call it as Euler-Lagrangian equation as well. Okay, so that is an important aspect, that Euler-Lagrangian equation representation to be noted, because that is an important part for your examination, because Euler-Lagrangian equation are normally used to ask for derivation, and also Hamilton's principle also many times has been asked in earlier exams. Okay, so this is how we will be getting the corresponding equation for Lagrangian Euler-Lagrangian equation corresponding to this case. Now let me just take a small example to address a certain scenario. The first one is, so here we will be taking a moving particle under Cartesian coordinate. Okay, so we are considering a moving particle, so which we are dealing in Cartesian coordinates. Okay, so in that case we know the kinetic energy will be equal to what? It will be half mx dot square. Okay, it is simply like half mv square. Okay, and the potential energy associated with this will be the potential energy V of x is equal to what? It is a negative gradient of the, if you consider the force, we know that that is minus del V. So that is a negative gradient of the potential that we already know. So force, if I consider, where V of x is the potential energy, if I say the force, so that is equal to minus dV of x divided by dx, I can write it as. Why do I write like that? Because where we have already have equation which we call it as what? D by d dt. D by dt of dou L by dou x dot. No, from that equation, if you put our representation there, we will be getting what? Here L is equal to, we have a corresponding representation. So d by dt of mx dot will be the minus dou into t minus v divided by dou x will be there, which is equal to, we will be getting as mx double dot minus f of x. This should be equal to 0, that we know. Okay, so what is this equation? This equation we know that f of x is equal to what? Mx dot, that is m d square x by dt square. So this is a representation of what? It is the first second law of motion of whose? It is a Newton's second law of motion equation, right? Okay, so we could derive. So what was our L here? L is equal to t minus v, that is equal to half m x dot square minus v. That if we substitute in the generalized equation that we already having, what was that equation? That is d by dt of dou L by dou xi dot minus uh, dou L by dou xi, that is equal to, okay. So when you substitute L equal to t minus v, that is half mx dot square by minus v, you will be getting d by dt of mx dot minus dou by dou t. So I already said that from the Lagrangian equation one can actually derive the Newton's law of motion. That's what we have done here. Okay. Now let me just take another example. Okay, so the example 2, here I will be considering a moving particle. Again I am considering a moving particle here. Okay, so let me just consider that the circular cylindrical motion of this one. Okay, a circular cylindrical coordinates corresponding to that. Okay, the particle in the xy plane in cylindrical coordinate, we could simply represent that First of all, kinetic energy in cylindrical coordinate if I represent. Okay, so that will be equal to T equal to what? Half m x dot square plus y dot square. So that is equal to what? M by 2 rho square, so rho dot square plus rho square phi dot square root. Okay, and take v equal to 0. For example, the potential energy in this case we taking as 0 over here for simplicity. Okay, for if you say that x dot square plus y dot square, which will tend to the circular coordinate corresponding to, so coordinates, so that like x means it is rho phi. Okay, and y also depends on rho phi as the two coordinate over here, which are the dependency on rho and phi over there. And now if you differentiating with respect to time and squaring this one, we will be getting that x dot square plus y dot square will be getting corresponding the v square value, and where v equal to what? It is rho ds rho by dt, that is equal to rho cap rho dot. Okay, what is that dsp? So it is actually an increment of length with respect to rho, with respect to change in rho by d rho. Okay, and we'll treat here phi is equal to what? Phi we treat it as constant here. Okay, so the Lagrangian equation uh, for rho and phi, the Lagrangian for phi and rho will be equal to what? It is equal to d by dt. Okay, m rho dot minus m rho phi dot square is equal to 0. So that is equal to what? We can say that d by dt of m rho square phi dot equal to 0. Okay, so this implies this one. Okay, so the second equation is a statement of conservation of energy. Okay, conservation of angular momentum. So it is a statement of conservation of angular momentum. Okay, so the first maybe can be considered that it is a radial acceleration which is equivalent to what? Okay, so this will be representing the conservation of, okay, so this is actually the interpretation of a radial acceleration equated to centrifugal force. Okay, so this is a radial acceleration team, and this is a centrifugal force. Okay, so that's how we will be getting the representation of circular coordinate when you consider cylindrical coordinate when a moving particle case. So it is also again a representation of aspects of Newton's law. Now the next part of the discussion we will be addressing, if we have a several independent variable. We have seen in the last class if there is a possibility of several dependent variable, what was the scenario. Now we will be discussing about several independent variables are there. Okay, so there are several independent variables. Then how do we execute the calculus of variation? So that's what we will be discussing here. So there will be situation, we'll have one unknown function which we call it as u, and we'll have several independent variable corresponding to that. So normally we always have equation what? j equal to integral f of x y then y dot. Okay, so like in this fashion. But if you consider any function, okay, any function if you consider, that is u, okay, and u is a function of, u is a function of several independent variable, several independent variable. Okay, so for example u equal to what, u equal to u x y z, where x y z are three independent variable. We know that this is a representation of three-dimensional structure, like, okay, there we have three independent variables are there. So in that situation, while you evaluating the calculus of variation in the functional, so we have to do three integral corresponding to that: f of u ux uy uz, okay, then we'll have the case associated with x y z. So then we have to integrate with respect to dx dy dz in that situation if we have several independent variable, if there are. So what is that ux I denoted ux minus dou ux by, sorry, dou u by dou x, and uy means dou u by dou y, and uz means dou u by dou z. Okay, like it goes. So the variational problem, in order to find u x y z, for which j is stationary, okay, so we need to find the value u x y z where j is stationary. Okay, so that is our aim to find out how do we solve this kind of problem. For that, we can again execute that delta j equal to what, it is alpha into dou j dou alpha at alpha equal to 0. Okay, so by generalizing this one, we'll have dou x y z, we'll have alpha term also we have to introduce, that is equal to u x y z 0 where alpha equal to 0 plus alpha into eta of x y z. Eta of x y z, we already know that eta is actually the, if the path is having a deforming path, then we have to introduce eta. Okay, so it will contribute to that particular case. And we know that what is eta of xyz, so it is an arbitrary deviation or deformation in the path. Okay, arbitrary deviation, so which describe the function, for example u x y z alpha. Okay, so this is how we will be obtaining when arbitrary variation is there. Otherwise we'll just simply represent the function where this alpha, here in this case we know that alpha equal to what, 0, that's why there is a 0 in the representation. Okay, so now in order to find the variation of function u x y z alpha, we need to differentiate this eta x y z should be differentiable, and also to vanish at the endpoints. So this eta of xyz should be differentiable and also should vanish at the endpoint in order to solve this case. That means we have to have a representation, that is if you take ux, that means dou u by dou x lab. So that is xyz alpha should be equal to what, ux of, if it is differentiable, then we have to xyz0 plus alpha eta x. Okay, so in order to get eta x y z, this should be what, should be differentiable. So we will be getting that this eta x means what, eta x means you are actually taking dou eta by dou x. Okay, so we are only talking about the x case now, only x direction. And similarly you can also have uy of xyz, that is, you will be actually differentiating with respect to dou u by dou y. Okay, then associated will be having x y z 0 plus alpha eta y will be there, and similarly u of z will be having x y z alpha, that is equal to u z equal to x y z 0 plus alpha eta z. Okay, like you will be having the different value corresponding to that. And now with that idea, if you differentiate uh, if you differentiate j with respect to alpha, okay, so then put alpha equal to 0. So in that situation, dou j by dou alpha at alpha equal to 0, which is equal to dou f by dou u eta plus dou f by dou u x eta x plus dou f by dou u y eta y plus, so okay, eta y, then dou f by dou u z eta z will be there into dx dy dz will be there. Okay, so again if you integrate each of the term in the particular equation, okay, if you integrate each of the term in the equation, then by parts, so dou f by dou u eta, so it will vanishes at the end point that you can see. Okay, and it become the deviation eta is required to go to 0 at the end point as well. And what you will be getting is that the representation will be, okay, so the representation becomes what, dou f by dou u minus dou by dou x of dou f by dou u x minus dou by dou y dou f by dou u y minus dou by dou z dou f by dou u z, okay, into we'll have what, into we'll have eta xyz eta xyz dx dy dz equal to 0. Okay, so in this case what we will be getting is that, so the variation, corresponding to this one, since the variation eta iz, we know that eta of xyz is what, it is actually an arbitrary value, right? So it's an arbitrary term. Okay, so we can consider that this representation, the term in the bracket, no, so this term in the bracket yield a Euler equation for three independent variable. Okay, so this is a representation of what, this I can simply say that in order to get the proper value, the stationary value, this particular integral, that is dou f by dou u minus dou by dou x dou f by dou u x minus dou by dou y dou f by dou u y minus dou by dou z of dou f by dou u z is equal to 0. Okay, so this is the Euler equation. Again, this is also a Euler's equation. Okay, Euler's equation for three independent variable case. Okay, so this is how you will be solving the stationary value when you have a calculus of variation with you have a functional to evaluate like this. Okay, so earlier we said that by considering the Lagrangian situation, so we also have seen an equation that is this particular equation. Okay, so this equation we call it as Euler's Lagrangian equation. Euler Lagrangian equation. So this is very important for exam point of view. So you have to note down that. And now we got a equation, Euler equation for three dependent independent variable case. Okay. Okay. So with that, I'll be just winding up today's session, and the next class we'll be discussing about the Laplace equation presentation and several dependent and independent variable case. Okay. So we have seen, firstly we have addressed several dependent variables, then several independent variables. Now we have to address a situation that we have several dependent and several independent variables are coming together, and in that situation how do we utilize this variational problem in order to solve a particular condition, in order to solve the particularly the independent points, sorry, endpoints of a stationary value, that is the extremum points we need to, how do we identify. So that our part we will be discussing on the next class. Okay, that will be probably the last class of calculus of variation. With that we will be coming to end of the module 3. Okay, thank you.